Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Steve Moran Selects. We're here to preview Emirates Stakes Day. We're doing it live from the Emirates Marquee. It'd be good to be here on Saturday.
Yes, can you organise that, Sean? I'd love to be here tomorrow afternoon. Glorious day here in Melbourne. We can look forward, I think, to a good track for tomorrow's meeting, which is great because it is a fantastic program with one very special race.
Yeah, well, look, the Emirates Stakes, of course, is the headline race, but it's being overshadowed now because of this heavyweight showdown in the Patnack Farm Classic. Finally, we get to see Haylist and Black Caviar come up against one another. What a race.
Certainly is. Add the 3-year-old Star Witness and 4 other runners, all of Group 1 status. It's a fantastic race, and I wouldn't presume to talk anyone out of their fancy coming into this race. If you've got an attachment to either horse or one of the others, don't be swayed by me. I do lean to Black Caviar. I think thus far this spring that Haylist has been professional and he's been comprehensive. But I think she's been awe-inspiring and commanding, and what she did at Moonee Valley was simply breathtaking. I think Ben Melham might have a little advantage being drawn out. He can do the stalking if required. Glenn Schofield drawn 2 on Haylist. Given the relatively small field, I wouldn't make too much of the tactics, but I think the wider gate for Black Caviar gives her a little edge. Great moment for Ben Melham tomorrow riding this mare. She is unbeaten. Haylist has been beaten twice, of course. I do lean her way. From what we saw at Moonee Valley, the margin was much significantly greater over True Persuasion and Eagle Falls for Black Caviar than it was for Haylist. That may be a little tenuous too because they had different runs in the race, but I think the evidence leads me towards Black Caviar.
Any chance of an upset?
An upset. Look, there's always a chance of an upset in horse racing. Star Witness, very comprehensive, winning the Coolmore last week. Last year we saw Wanted run second in this race. He'd run 7th in the Coolmore. History of 3-year-olds in these wait for age sprints towards the close of the spring is very good. All Silent, he's never been beaten at Flemington in the spring. He's never been beaten at Flemington in Cup Week. His recent runs have been on rain-affected tracks. If this gets to a genuine good, and I suspect it will, he might improve. Eagle Falls is a great straight-track performer, and Hortensia is probably the second best sprinting mare. Well, you might have an argument, mightn't you? Hortensia Melito as the second-ranked sprinting mares in the country behind Black Caviar. So it's a fantastic race.
Alrighty, well, other Group 1, as we said, the headline race of the day is the Emirates Stakes. Big field here. Should be lots of value compared to the Patnack Farm. And you might have found one at odds.
Well, I'm a bit keen on Rathira. Sean, barrier 1 and down in the weights. It's interesting. If you look at the results this week at Flemington, it's quite extraordinary. Every handicap race run thus far this week at Flemington has been won by a horse on the minimum or with less than a kilo over the minimum. Set weights and penalties races, same deal. Those escaping the maximum penalties are winning. History of this race, past 10 years, only one winner with more than 53.5, Testarossa, back from the Cox Plate. Last 10 years, only 6 place getters with 54 or more in this race. Last 2 years, All Silent and All American. What happened? They drew in. They got the lovely run from midfield tracking through. I don't think you can come 8 wide and win this race. It's just too competitive. Rathira, gate 1, fantastic win at Caulfield. A winning horse, maintaining his form, down in the weights. As long as he can be reasonably handy in a striking position from gate 1 and the run comes, I think he's tremendous value in this year's Emirates.
Alrighty, so some value for you in the Emirates. What are your rest of your selections in that race?
Beyond him, I'm staying with those horses down in the weights. I mean, the history tells you that. Snow Alert and Chasm, I think, will run terrific races. And with this track improving all the time, I think Palacio de Crystal, if there is one horse who could possibly defy what I just said, overcoming the wide gate and peeling to the outside, it might be her. Forget she went around last week, simply didn't handle the conditions. So I'm going for those down in the weights. I suppose those coming off the Cox Plate, Wall Street and Captain Sonador Trusting will have their admirers, but I think the race will fall to one of those down in the weights.
Alrighty, and the other race we want to have a look at is the Queen's Cup Group 3 race, but outstanding field and lots of interest in this. A couple of the internationals here, Drunken Sailor for Luca Kamani, Eastern Aria for Mark Johnston, and one of the informed mares that you've picked out of the Geelong Cup.
Yes, exceptionally. The Geelong Cup, of course, is holding up extremely well to this point. And I think she hasn't had much luck through the spring. Exceptionally terrific run to Harris Tweed, which stood up in the Caulfield Cup. Then very good at Geelong. I'd prefer a drawn in, but she'll probably get back in any case. Eastern Aria, Mark Johnston's mare, appeals, particularly with the track drying out. Unusually for a European horse, she's got particularly good record on good to firm ground. a progressive animal, and I think she looks pretty well placed here. They'd be my top 2 picks in the race, exceptionally, and Eastern Aria, probably just ahead of Mudra. He'll be very competitive again. And then there's lots of other half chances in the race. It's a really good competitive Queen's Cup.
Alrighty, what about your best bets? Sounds like you're pretty keen on Black Caviar.
Yes, well, you know me, Sean, I'm not generally tempted to take short odds, anything, but I might be in this case with Black Caviar. I thought the best each way might be Baringamar in the last. We're going to rocks in the race. He probably won't get a run in the Emirates, but he's drawn barrier 1, and I suspect he's going to be very short. Baringamar, terrific win at Caulfield, just to refer to the notes. Amathon, Tagus, Sound Journey behind him. Never runs a bad race. Good record here at the Flemington 1400. Will be on the speed throughout, and you'll probably finish up getting $6, $7 each way. So I'm pretty keen on Baringamar.
All right, and your roughie won on Derby Day, $25 for us. Cup Day, should I say, not Derby Day. You found a roughie for us?
Yes, let's hope we can find another one race 2 tomorrow, number 12. He's an Angel. Underrated, this horse. Very good record on dry tracks. C. Williams on tomorrow, a plus. Reasonably drawn where some of the better chances are off the track. Very good run in the Seymour Cup, finding the line when I last looked around the 30-1 mark, and I think it's terrific value. He's an Angel. Alrighty,
well there's our look at Emirates Stakes Day, of course, with the Patnack Farm Classic. Steve, thanks for your time.
Terrific, Sean. Just tee up those tickets for the Emirates Marquee.
We'll be looking forward to it. That's this week's edition of Steve Moran Selects. Of course, you can find all of Steve's selections in this week's edition of Best Bets. You'll find it at your nearest news agency. Good punting.